is really delighted and excited to have Sandra here, and she's our expert, and the questions may come from different corners, so just bring yourself in. You can, so it will be the most valuable webinar for you today. And I also want to say hello to Henrike, my colleague again. She's here. She was, she is steering the whole format of Coffee and Learn, and she will be here today to support us technical, and also to give information about the webinar in advance. I want to share a few slides, but only for the information part, and I will then close it so we can be here in the gallery. I think this is nicer than to have the slides the whole time, but I will share for a moment. And it will be this. Just let me know if you can see. So now you should see something. Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you for the feedback. So before we start with the specific topic of today, I just want to give a short overview. So today the topic is the significance of the overall social relevance of diversity, equity, and inclusion issues for leadership development. So we want to relate this big topic, to the specific topic of leadership development. We have this webinar series kick-started in January, and it will be in the upcoming month. We will have it every fourth Thursday to the same time. So if you like it today, just feel free to subscribe for any other webinars. And it's main target group are HR deciders, but of course, as you see today, we open it for everybody interested in the digital coaching and learning and development industry, and also to have quite other topics, but of course, they are related to learning, because coaching and learning and development is about lifelong learning, and to bring out the best of every individual and also organizations. So this is what brings us today to the topic of DE&I. Sandra, you asked me if I could introduce you, so I will try. Actually, I used your bio you sent us, and I just want to read it. And when I prepared for today, I just thought it's amazing. I feel like standing on the shoulders of a giant. It's just, your track record is so impressive. Who are you? Sandra, you are a passionate change maker with 15 years of professional experience, and in 2020 you started your tenure as the Global Head of Diversity and Inclusion at Axel Springer. And in this role, you focus on building and executing a holistic diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy for the group Axel Springer. Previously, you worked for Accenture in the fields of innovation and change management. And you believe, and this is what I really like when I reread it, you believe that a growth mindset is a combination between curiosity, humility, and empathy. And this is what makes future-proof leaders. And this resonates with me a lot. I hope with all the other listeners now too. You're passionate about problems, solving complex problems, driving organizational change at scale, and helping people build their creative confidence. And everything about education and knowledge sharing is really your thing. And in 1918, you started as guest lecturer at the Poznan University of Economics and Business, where you teach design thinking and the MBA program. And you joined the program committee of Changemakers, one of the largest DE&I conferences in Poland 2 years ago. And also 2 years ago, you received the Female Champion of Change Award from the Polish non-profit organization I can't pronounce. And yeah, you really say that lifelong learning and experiencing new things is really yours. This is what drives you. And yeah, one more thing to add, which we couldn't read so far in your pick when you had a look at our Sharpest website. Recently, you were appointed as Forbes Women Poland. So you really have impact in this world. And yeah, I'm just also really delighted to be here with you today and to learn from you, as my strategic and yeah, the depth of my knowledge about DEI is quite small. I know that I have some criteria, so which make me a minority maybe in some parts of the world, but in some others not at all. And this doesn't make anything about the strategic yeah, conducting of DEI topics. Just a few words to my person. I'm Simone, I'm the Director Custom Advisory at Sharpest, which means that I accompany our prospects and also existing customers when it comes to deeper HR questions in learning and development and coaching topics, as I was with Kienbaum, a German HR consultancy, for more than 14 years before I joined Sharpest in the end of last year. I'm a psychologist from my background. I'm also a certified business coach, and I think what we have in common is that I also love to yeah, to grow personally. I love to yeah, support leaders. I love to support organizations in transformation in these challenging times. And yeah, this from my side. Now I will share some Mentimeter data, so all of you can bring themselves in. So please use this enter code for Mentimeter. So, or the QR code might be easier, though. And while you are doing this, I will change the presentation to Mentimeter. So why have you registered for this webinar? There was one person a little bit earlier in, so it was really valuable, this individual sharing about why to be here today. And now we are curious about the other ones. I'm interested in learning how to develop a DEI strategy. I'm a leader and are interested in the format. The topic is very relevant for me right now. Curious about Sharpest. I want to know how to foster inclusion in the diverse team. I wanted to learn more about my friend Sandra's perspective and also support her. I want to know how to include everyone and what to pay attention to get inspiration, how other companies tackle a change towards more DEI, mainly responsible for L&D strategies. Topics are super relevant. And I'm interested in learning about the impact of L&D with respect to diversity and inclusion. Yeah. Okay, thanks for sharing. There's another answer. I'm coaching members of the queer community. I will wait a few more seconds. Maybe there's another person who wants to give an answer. Okay, thanks for sharing, all of you. We have another question. Oh, there's some more. Working on the topic of women in leadership. Yeah, this is a big topic in Germany, but especially in UK, and it's an upcoming topic. Yeah. Not new, but more of the radar. Yeah, Under the same code, you have another question. I will just change back to our presentation for this to share together the question. It's, what does diversity, equity, and inclusion mean to you? Just put in a word comes to mind when you reflect on DEI. What does it mean for you?
I think you need to move to the next question in Mentimeter.
Ah, okay. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
Thank you. What does it mean for you? What words come to mind? What I always like about this word cloud is if there some words become bigger or not. Yeah. So it looks like a really diverse cloud with a core, a true core, which is called fairness here. And just let's have a look on this word cloud. It's appreciation, live your life as you want. Everyone is unique, no bias, equal treatment, being human, creativity, empowerment, strong word nowadays, freedom, absence of fear, broadness, mindfulness, recognition, talent instead of gender, education, in my soul, reflection, and others. So a lot of things come up here for you. Because I'm not multitasking talented, I wasn't involving myself, but what I just when I read a little bit about it in advance, really resonates with me is also the term of belonging. So to belong and feel seen as human being, expect from anything what could make a difference to the main group, for example. But I will stop sharing now. And love to hear from you, and I'm sure everybody else too. What does DEI means to you, Sandra? What is your definition of this?
Definitely, it's a term that you can try to define, and you will always find some varieties in those definitions, right? Of course, if you go to the dictionary, you will find the right wording for it, or in particular, diversity. It's quite easy to address from the semantic perspective. What I like to highlight that diversity really, it's a broad term when it comes to visible and invisible diversity, and it always exists in a context and other people. So what I hate in this narrative of diversity is when we talk about a diverse individual, a diverse candidate, diverse person. We often hear those terms in the context of recruitment. And this is where I'm always like triggered by that, because an individual will always be unique. an individual, a human being is unique. The diversity, it only happens when we have other people around us. And it always depends who's around us, and this is how diversity will play. In one group, we can be a part of a majority group, and in another context, we can be part of a non-dominant group. So this is about diversity, and that's the first element. And we know from studies that more diverse organizations are more successful because diversity drives creativity, drives better decision-making. We know that more diverse teams are taking more ethical decisions. They are better at reflecting customer needs because they're closer to those customers' needs. So we have a long list of reasons why business needs to seek diversity. And then we have two terms, which is equity and inclusion. And I can start with inclusion, which refers not only to be diverse, but really use that diversity and the power of diversity. So it's not enough to hire a lot of very different people and then go ahead as you've done in the past. Making sure that those diverse perspectives are being heard, the diverse personalities are being included in the conversation, that we create an environment where diverse individuals can bring their best self to work, and making sure that their voices are heard and considered. It's all about inclusion, and this is what we mean by that. So creating this work environment where we can really fully leverage the potential of diversity. And when we talk about equity, I like to talk about it in the context of equality, because it's not the same. But equality can enable, equity can enable equality. So if we talk about equity, we talk about the processes of adjusting to different needs of individuals. Like, we're all humans and we have the same human rights, yet we have been born in different places with different history, with different context, and we might have different needs with regards to that. So it's not about the one size fits all, but really making sure that we are offering what is needed to individuals to thrive and eventually reaching the equality status in the organization. I really like that image that you can easily find on Google when you search for equality and equity. There's this picture where you have three people standing and trying to either see a game, football game, and there are people of a different height. And if you give all those people the same chair to stand, that won't change anything for them, because the high person will already even gain more advantage, and the person who is, or a child or someone who is not as tall won't benefit at all from it, or will just have a little benefit. So it's all about looking into individual needs and making sure that we are enabling people through understanding of those needs. So that's about diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I like that you draw this picture again. When I saw it, I was thinking about educating siblings and understanding the difference between equity and equality. This could be a good move, or actually to everybody, to have more peace in this world. So thanks for sharing, Sandra. And yeah, why is it for you that a holistic diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy is so important for organizations? What is the point of view on this?
Well, first of all, I think it's worth demystifying this term of strategic, right? Because it's one of the most overused terms, and strategy among terms like innovation or creativity, it's being used very often in a very different meaning. And if you look at, again, you probably noticed by now that I love semantics and meaning of words. And if you search for meaning of strategy, there is no agreement or a common blueprint about how the strategy looks like. Academics are still debating, and if you would put together strategies of different companies, you will probably find some thread among those, but they're also quite different, and they have different elements. And for me, strategic approach means that we are in D&I means that we are connecting it to the business strategy of the company, together with their people strategy and all the organizational design approach. And why it's so important? It's important only if you really want to harvest the benefits that diversity, equity, and inclusion can offer. If you really look at the topic from the superficial branding perspective, maybe you don't need the holistic approach. Like, let's be honest, like we don't have to, or we shouldn't expect everyone to drive it holistically. But if we are in the creative business where where the innovation is a matter of survival of the company, and we need to build a future-proof organization with best talent that relies on the creativity of those people, and the survival of the organization depends on the talent that works there, then the holistic approach is absolutely necessary. I think the big misconception around it is that we talk about diversity, we know we have a data, we know how important it is, but then if you look at activities, you rarely see the strategic approach to D&I. And it's interesting because we hear people saying D&I is critical for our business, but it's not translating into behaviors. Just to give you an example, if there is a problem in business, for instance, our supply chain is not working, or I don't know, we have problems in procurement, no one is starting with putting a task force to address it, like it usually happens in diversity, equity, inclusion, where we recognize that, oh, we are not diverse enough. The first thing that happens, they're like, we search for volunteers who wants to work on the topic and try to address it. So that's a sign that the topic is not treated as seriously as all the commitments are stated around. Yeah.
Thank you. You also you humor kind of humor about this. Now you have the position to build such a holistic strategy, or whatever we could call it, and also to execute it in the group of Axel Springer. Now you have the experience for 2 almost 3 years. What are your experiences? What does it need to build and execute such a big thing or small thing, as you just said, because it's the perspective from DEI?
I think what I want to highlight when answering your question is that maybe Axel Springer is not the largest company that I've ever worked. I used to work for the company that currently hires almost 800,000 people, yet it's quite centralized. And Axel Springer, it's not as big. It hires around 16,000 employees, yet it's extremely decentralized, with many independent companies that belong to it. And my role was set up on the group level, and my job was to try to find a way of driving that topic from the group perspective. And I think what I've learned quite fast, and maybe it's a quite vague learning, yet extremely important, that there is no one size fits all approach to it. So we wanted to have a group level perspective and accountability for the topic, yet we had to consider the differences between our business units. And this is how we decided to drive it. We have set up a project that was aiming at building and at the end of the process, a clear D&I strategy picture. And I think Henrike can share the link to that so you can check it out, how it looks like currently. But we looked into every single unit that was in scope of the project separately. So we have been working with 9 largest units of the company, evaluating their status quo in terms of D&I, defining guiding policies and coherent actions for those units. So we only at the very end look at what's there and try to identify patterns to be able to communicate that topic holistically, not starting from like pushing our group members into a framework that wouldn't be relevant for them. So this is, I think, an important part, especially for those who in our audience are thinking or are in charge of building such strategy. There's competing interest of having a unified approach and a centralized view versus the differences across your business units, departments, especially if you operate across different countries. You cannot have the same strategy for Middle East and I don't know, Western Europe. for instance, right? So finding the right balance between thinking global and acting locally, it's extremely important. And if I think about the process of developing our strategy, I would, if I could give any indication to our audience, I would definitely focus, and this is what we did, on 5 major questions. First of those questions, it's the why. So why we as a company want to work on DEI, why it's important to us, and why also from the perspective of desired outcomes. What do we expect if we are successful in this area? And at the same time, kind of with that work, making sure that we have a clear vision for that work. It's like all falling under the why question. Once we have clarified the why part, going into the what. So basically, what do we want to produce? How the product of this project or this effort will help us driving this topic forward? How we will use that product of the strategy project, and it will help us define next steps and actions. With why and what in place, you can reflect on who, because you also need people to help you with it. You need the diverse teams to make sure that the strategy quality or the quality of your strategy is relevant to the organization you work for. And as we said at the beginning, we know that diverse teams are producing more creative solutions. So why, what, who, but we also need to know how. And with the how part, really trying to base your work on the right level of combination between qualitative and quantitative approach, especially when it comes to data, which I think in particular in Europe and in Germany, it's a very tricky topic, how to collect and store the diversity data. Not an easy topic, yet important to remember is that you can always make the data part of your strategy. This is what we did. If you look into our strategy, we did struggle with data, and we know that we knew that it will take us time to collect better data. So we made that part of our strategy instead of waiting until we have that data in place. So really kind of meeting this organization and the context we have where we actually are. And last but not least, it's a when, because the strategy to be realistic, but also kind of inspiring, bringing people together and have this drive in it, you need to know what you want to accomplish by when. And that will help you on many levels, because first of all, you need to realize that D&I work, it's a long-term work, and it's a marathon. I know it's a very common metaphor, but D&I work, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So knowing that those things will take time, you can always better adjust your communication style and manage the stakeholders' expectation when it comes to that. So those are the 5 questions I will definitely recommend to start with when considering building the D&I strategy.
Yeah, thanks for this overview, and really strategic and pragmatic the same time, to make it really concrete also for our listeners. You said it's a marathon and it's not a sprint. So how do you train your leaders to support this strategy?
Well, how, I think I would say, first of all, you need to establish the fact that you need to do that, right? So that's the first point. And then only the how for me comes as a next step. And education, it's extremely important for the DEI work, especially in the level of maturity we observe in our society. And being in Germany, I'm originally from Poland, where the situation it's even less advanced than here in certain aspects of diversity. So if you really want to get people on board, you need to start with building awareness. I mean, it's a simple change management process, right? And I'm looking at D&I strongly from the change management perspective, not necessarily from the activist perspective or individual, but really from the change management. And if you want to drive that change, you have to build the awareness in your stakeholders, employees, right? And one of the ways of doing that is through education. And this is first element. Other element is the role of leadership that you've mentioned, right? Because in DEI work, we all have part to play. So it's not like it's only leader's job or employee job or minority group's job. It's everyone's job to drive it. Yet I truly believe that leadership has a special role to play in that process. And to be able to play that role, they need to receive an education that will help them playing that role. What we see often is that lack of knowledge leads to avoidance. And I think it's very natural. If I don't have a vocabulary to use, if I don't have knowledge to discuss the topic, I would rather avoid bringing this topic up instead of trying to enter a meaningful conversation with people. And education can have a very different phases, from like a proper, training program, but also through individual coaching, through webinars, and meta level education. I think, especially I've observed that recently with Netflix taking quite seriously DEI work in their product. They're offering more and more content that can help with education or meta level, just by showcasing different situations through their entertainment content. We can really learn a lot from it. So definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, maybe one last sentence from your side, Sandra. What do you wish for the future for this important topic, DE&I? What is your dream about it?
I wish we don't have to talk about the business case anymore. I think I'm a big promoter of the big business case, and I keep talking about it because I understand the importance of doing that. But I hope that one day that a moral, ethical case for DEI will be just enough to drive change. So that would be my big dream for the future, that we do it because we know it's good for people, it's good for us, it's human, it's respect, it's empathy, not because we can make money with it, which will come anyway if we do it, but it's about the motivation.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Sandra. Very, very much. Really, really interesting. I see it could just be the beginning of a whole journey of being educated by you about D&I topics. Really, yeah, I really like listening to you. We don't have such much time left, but still I'd like to open the audience here for one or two questions you'd like to address to Sandra. Just bring it up in the chat or raise your hand and turn your audio on. We are here. Any question or comment?
I see Stan
Yes.
raising actual hand.
Hi, yes, I'm physically like waving instead of looking for the button. Yes, Sandra, because I mean, I enjoy what you've been telling us about the DEI, and I just wanted, as I put it in the comment, I also like to add the layer of belonging, because that's like for me it is also connected like with my personal needs, but for me there's belonging especially when we speak about the satisfaction at work, or like bringing your full self to work. That's where I think that this also resonates well with the whole DI work that you've shown that you've done, and that is being done in many organizations now. So I think that this belonging for me also like adds this yet another perspective to the whole concept. So thank you very much for presenting this. Just wanted to make this comment.
Thank you for adding this. And indeed, for me, as I see, belonging is an outcome of the activities around inclusion, equity, and diversity. So if we have that job done, then we can probably score high on the employee belonging. Would you agree with that, or you see it differently?
Certainly, it's exactly what I've noticed is that this sometimes there is like in some organizations, at least the one that I've been working with, there was this extra push needed to well, but that's about including so to say both sides of the story, not only the company but also like the employees, so that they take the ownership in this as well. And that's where the concept of belonging nicely falls in to make the picture full, as you said. So yeah, definitely agree with what you say.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stan. There's another raised hand. It's from Julia Zollner.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so lovely. Sandra, lovely to see you virtually in this event, so lovely. I have a question regarding like certain topics, for example, family equality or, you know, parental leave for fathers. They are all part of the whole discussion. So I wonder is it like I observed there are a lot of spaces like webinars and meetings and topics where people and especially women discuss it. So to provide a safe space, but also because they probably have the urgency to discuss. But would you say those safe spaces are the white ray, or would it be needed to bring also men at the table or other people that are also impacted, but maybe not having the, it's not that present. So I always wonder do we need these just safe spaces for certain groups, or how do we open up the table for everyone to be part of the change? You know what I mean with the question?
Yeah, I think I do. And as we both, maybe we can disclose with the audience that we know each other with Julia. We both work in consultancy before. So I will use the typical consulting answer. I think it depends. First of all, it depends on the needs of the group, because if the group needs that safe space, they know best what their need for themselves. However, that decision will impact the impact they're trying to make, right? Because I think one of the reasons why DEI initiatives, projects, programs are failing is that they're polarizing people. So it's me against you instead of it's us. So like basically we look at the DEI and the workplace as it was one cake. And if I take one piece of that cake, it's nothing left for you. Right. And I think either we need to try to expand the cake, so to say, make it bigger, cook bigger cakes, or making sure that we are able to split that. And if we cannot split that, to make sure that we can explain why it cannot happen. Right. Because I think some part of the DEI work also connects to privilege, and some people need to give up that privilege. But we can go back to a major question whether that privilege should be given in the first place in general, right? So that's the first part. On the other side, what I like to do when working with DEI, it's to try to explain that there is something in it for anyone. Like you brought up the conversation and the polarization between men and women, and I think this is a quite limiting way of thinking about it, right? Why? Because it operates on the existing stereotypes that women want to stay at home with children, for instance, and the men have the responsibility of earning money. And that's an old stereotype and a model we have in the society. And we see more and more men being interested in taking care of the household and stepping into the role of the caregivers, while women prefer to go and happen to go to work and be the providers. And in those, and the society as of today, it's still kind of pushing us into the existing models, and opening the conversation of the both sides about their needs, context, preferences, you name it. It's extremely important that we have this meaningful conversation that includes everyone. So that's my opinion about it. What do you think?
Thank you, Sandra. Yeah, I was probably on the same, would have said it's a mix depending what it needs, definitely. Yeah, thank you.
But I mean, it's not easy to make it happen, because we often see women network being open to men, and the invites are extended but not accepted, for instance, right? And so, yeah, we see, I observe that in our own events at the company.
Thank you, especially big thank to you, Sandra, and big thank you to all of you. I really feel the energy about this topic. It's really great, and Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Maybe just before we close together now, one more information. Again, we will having Silvia Colantonio from Zalando speaking about the chances and challenges of self-organized learning end of March. And there will be also a guest already for April. It will be Stefan Stenzel. He is with SAP and responsible for coaching services in SAP, and also with the Business Coaching Association. He is responsible for the digital coaching provider discussion. So these will be our guests in March and April. But for now, I see your hand. But yeah, from my side, yeah, big kudos, Sandra. Lovely, really, really interesting, and all the others. Thanks for being here today with us. Enrique, you raised your hand.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if you still have time, but there's one more question from where is it? Just up there.
Oh, it's a question from Julian, which I think
Yes.
I sent the link to the McKinsey study.
Okay, so
that provides a lot of insights about the business case. Yet I think like industry agnostic might be quite of the challenge at the end of the day. Because sorry, I won't go with the why because we don't have time.
So we all have your contact. So be sure there will be questions in advance, Sandra. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful Thursday, all of you. See you soon. Bye bye.